I'd like to call the August 20th, 2025 Lone Star Governor's Workshop to order. It is 4:30 p.m. There is a quorum present. Notice of this meeting has been posted in time and manner required by law. Mr. Jones, would you please call the roll?
Yes, sir. Cliff Williams. Present. Scott Carter.
Present.
Charles Perry. Present. Kyle Hagemeyer.
Present.
Paulette Traylor.
Present.
Ms. Nikita Ladway.
Present.
My name is Chad Jones. Thank you.
This time, I'd like to turn it over to Dr. Larry Lewis.
Good afternoon. Thank you so much for having me today. Student outcomes don't change until adult behaviors change. Student outcomes don't change until adult behaviors change. How did we get here today? First of all, I want to thank you for your homework. I told President Hagemeyer this when we had our Zoom call. In the years that I've been doing this since 2019, Willis ISD board is one of the most impressive boards that I've seen on the homework that you were given for your community engagement homework. As I said to President Hagemeyer, it was obvious that you reflected on the work that you did. It was obvious that you took it very seriously, and it was obvious that there was some type of collaboration. And so it really made our work easy after you did the work that you did. So big kudos to you all for the work that you did individually, and then the work that you collaborated on either with one or two others. It was quite obvious that you're serious about this work and what you expect from the superintendent, the administration, and academic performance from students. So thank you again.
And so that I don't mislead anybody, I understand that Ms. Paulette kept us in check, so I can imagine having her as a teacher. You got your homework in.
Okay. So I just really want to take this time and say thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you for a job well done. It's not often, and I can say this, it's not often that we see the quality of work that all 7 of you did individually and collectively. So thank you for making my job and our job easier as we get ready to present to you. Also, I want to thank Dr. Clardy and her team. I was able to meet with them on more than one occasion about the numbers that I was seeing for clarification, and then also for ideas and strategies from the work that the board had done and the vision of the board and the vision of the superintendent. I was able to meet with her and her team. And of course, thank you for Ms. Delosa for, it's like we become brothers and sisters, we talk so much. And so she keeps me grounded, and she keeps the information flowing between the superintendent and I. And of course, without a doubt, you made an incredible choice in your superintendent. The times that we spend together alone, talking, and the time that we spend in group is really always refreshing, very visionary, and because of that, we arrived at this. So thank you, Dr. James, and your leadership and this team. So what you have before you is that the board represents the vision and values of the community. We found that out in Lone Star Governance. And so the board is also responsible for student outcomes. And so there are 3 goals that the board should have. CCMR, 3rd grade reading, and 3rd grade math. And then this year, when you did the training, we called them superintendent and board constraints. Well, this year, the agency changed the title and went with the national title, and now they're called superintendent guardrails and board guardrails, so that we would be consistent with the nation. And so you have a packet in front of you, and then we'll start with the board, with the Willis ISD Goal 1 for CCMR. Now, when I sat with Dr. Clardy and her team, there are so many areas of CCMR that you could have used for board goals. But she said, Dr. Willis, I want to make it challenging. I want to make it something that, because I recommended a totally different area. And so after we had the conversation, we arrived at an area that we think will be challenging, an area that will improve student academic performance, and an area that will improve college readiness. And so those were the criteria that we looked at. Improve student performance, challenging, and then make sure that students are leaving Willis ISD college ready. And so, and what it did to me was expose some areas that if I was probably superintendent, I probably would have said, you know, I'm not sure if I want the public to know that yet. But that's what this administration is all about. Peeling back the onion, revealing what is, and talking about how we can get to the next level. So goal 1 is a percentage of high school seniors who earn a college and career and military readiness point and demonstrate college readiness in math and English, excluding college prep, will increase from 14% in 2025 to 50% in 2030. So this is a participation goal. We're going to increase the numbers right now in 2025, only 36% of the seniors were actually either taking college readiness tests, taking college readiness assessments, and we're saying that, hey, we need to bump that up to 50%. So from 14% to 50%, and from baseline of 14% in 2025 to 50% in 2030. So that is what we call a participation goal. Now, when we talk about the goal progress, that is the goal itself, that they will get the points. Now, the goal progress measure is the first goal progress measure is participation. So the number of kids achieving a point was only 14% in 2025. So only 14% of the seniors were achieving a point in CCMR. We're saying 50% of those, 50% of the seniors, and we will ramp that up to 50% in the next 5 years. That's huge, to go from 14% to 50% in 5 years. So that is a very challenging goal, but the organization is saying we can make that happen. And how do we make that happen? The goal progress measure in 1.1 is a percentage of secondary students who take the Texas Success Initiative assessment, which is college readiness, is one of the assessments that you can take, ACT, SAT, Texas Success Initiative, one of those 3. The percentage of secondary students who take the TSAI2 for both English and math will increase from 36% in May 2025 to 75% in May 2030. So right now, only 36% of the students are even taking it. And so the reason we can get to 50% is because we're going to increase the number of students taking it to 75%. The second one is now the percent of secondary students who demonstrate college readiness in both English and math on the TSAI2 will increase from 4% in May 2025 to 40% in May 2030. So right now we have 4% of students who are demonstrating college readiness. We're going to increase that to 40% by 2030. As you can see, that's another daunting task that the administration is saying that we're ready for. And then the last GPM in that area is the percent of secondary students who demonstrate college readiness in both English and math on the SAT. Now we just switched to Scholastic Aptitude Test, right? We were from TSAI2 now to the SAT will increase from 8% in May of 2025 to 40% in May of 2030. Any questions about CCMR? Any questions? Anything you would like to add?
No, you're doing a great job.
Okay, now we're going to go to third grade reading. The percentage of students at the third grade level who are scoring at the meets. Now, what does meets mean? Now, we know that meets means that if a kid scores at meets, they have a 65% probability of taking college level courses without remediation. That's what happens if a kid scores meets throughout their matriculation between K through 12. If a kid is at meets, they have a 65% chance of not having to take remediation courses in college. If they score a master's, it moves up to 75%. Now, if it's at approaches, they're gonna need some serious intervention. Okay, so that's why everything is done at meets when it comes to goals for third grade reading and math. So the percentage of students at third grade level who are scoring at the meets performance level or above in reading as measured by the STAR assessment will increase from 54% in May of 2025, which was like a 12% jump, if I'm correct. It was like a 12% jump from 24 to 25 in May of 2025 to 77% in May of 2030. Now, if we move from 54% to 77% in 2030, I can tell you now, you're on your way to being an A district, one of the best districts in the state, and probably one of the top districts in the nation. That's what this kind of performance will get you. And so then what are the goal progress measures? Now, in Willis ISD, you have not been using NWEA MAP as a baseline assessment in kindergarten. You have been using it in first and second grade, but you have not been using it in kinder. So once we discovered that, we decided rather than using two different assessments and not comparing apples to apples, we need to just establish a baseline in 2026 for kindergarten for kindergarten using NWEA MAP. So we don't have a baseline for 2025 as far as it relates to goal progress measure 2.1. So it says the percentage of students at the kindergarten level who meet their projected growth on the EOY reading NWEA MAP assessment will increase from the established baseline in May 2026. So we're going to establish the baseline in May of 2026. And then we will have 4 years to reach the 70%. Now, the reason you don't have anything as far as goal progress measures is in 27, 28, and 29 is because we don't know what the baseline is yet. So if the baseline comes out at 70%, we're gonna have to change it all, right? And then if the baseline comes out at 60%, now we're gonna have to change the benchmark from 70 to something higher, because that would be only 10% in 4 years. So whatever the established baseline is in 2026 will be compatible with what we're about to do in first and second grade on NWEA MAP. So in 2.2, the percentage of students at the first grade level who meet their projected growth on the EOY reading NWEA MAP assessment will increase from 41% in 2025 to 70% in 2030. Now, how do we get these numbers? These are not just arbitrary numbers. We went back and we looked at a 5-year history of test scores in Willis ISD. District, and then every student category. And so every year we put a plus or minus, whatever it was. And then in the 5 years, at the end of the 5 years, if it was plus 17 for one group or plus 17 for the district, well then we know that over the last 5-year period, we've had a plus 17 percentage increase. Or if it was a minus 3% decrease, now we know from empirical data over a 5-year period, we know what we need to look at as far as what kids have done in the past and what they're capable of doing as we move forward under this new leadership team and the vision that the board and the superintendent has. So that's how we arrived at the numbers. In 2.3, we said that the students in second grade on the MAP assessment will increase from 56% to 76%, right? Because they were already ahead than first grade. And then if you look at math, we have to do the same thing for kindergarten and math. Establish a baseline year in 2026 because we were using a different assessment. So whatever that baseline is in 2026, we'll move that out to 2030. And we'll make adjustments as needed. And so then in second grade, at the end of first grade level at EOY for math, it moves from 59% to 76%, and second grade, 56% to 72%. Have any questions about the numbers that we're presenting to you this evening? Now, we have to have goal progress measures for each individual student group. And that's what you see here for third grade math and third grade reading and math. So if you can pull this sheet up that I'm holding here. You see for every student group, we have looked at where they were and where they're going to be in 2030. So if you just take a minute to peruse that and see if you have any questions about any particular group. But it was also based on empirical data over a 5-year period. Hearing none, we can move on to the guardrails. Okay. Okay, superintendent guardrails. Now, what we will do in this, we'll look at the guardrail, we'll look at the GPM, but I have to amend the GPM to make it a smart goal. And I will give you that example when we look at it here in a second. So, we're going to turn the 4 GPMs into 2 GPMs and guardrails. I mean, 2 guardrails with GPMs, okay? Now, how do we get to these superintendent guardrails? And remember, guardrails shall be and thou shalt not, right? Thou shalt not, right? So, one of the things that came through loud and clear in the strategic plan. I was here for that, I have a copy of it, and I have read it. And one of the big things that I heard prior to that was communication. Superintendent communication, district communication, community organization. So one of the things that we came up with as far as superintendent's guardrails, in attaining the board's student outcome goals, the superintendent shall not allow communication with the community to be less than twice per month, using a variety of interactions with the community. But one of the things that we're going to say is that the percentage of surveys responses as measured by the survey at that particular time shall not be below 15% in May 2025 to 30% in May 2030. So the survey responses will increase from 15% in May 2025 to 30% in May 2030. Why did we arrive at 30%? You have 9,400 kids in the school system today. Well, a lot of those parents have more than one child, right? So if I have 5 children, I'm only going to do what? One survey. One survey. So if we do 100% of the kids, then we're saying that what? The parent is going to do a survey 5 times. Well, we know a parent is not going to do a survey 5 times. So we can't put the number up at 40 or 50 or 60% when you have parents who have multiple children and only going to do one survey, right? So we have to be fair to the administration and to the superintendent. So going from 15% baseline in May of 2025 to 30% in May of 2030 is pretty challenging in and of itself. Right? Because, like I said, we have parents who have multiple kids that are only going to do one survey. So that would be the goal progress measure for communication of twice per month. Then, in attaining the board's student outcome goals, the superintendent shall not allow campus ratings below a C. The goal progress measure is the percentage of campuses with a rating below C as measured by STAR shall decrease from 18% in May of 2025 to 0% in May of 2030. Currently, you have 2 out of 11 campuses that have a D rating, right? So that's below a C rating. Our goal is to make sure even in 26 that we have none. So the goal progress measure would read 0, 0, 0, 0 because we want none. But we have to make it a SMART goal, so we have to say 18% to 0% 2030. But the goal is to have none in 2026. Any questions about superintendent guardrails? Okay, let's go to the board guardrails. The Willis ISD board, either collectively or through the actions of individual board members, shall not, 1, deviate from the board's operating procedures. I understand that I've read the operating procedures. I know they're on the agenda tonight. And so once approved, that really establishes a relationship between the board and the superintendent and the board amongst the board, those operating procedures. And because it's been voted on, and this is how we say we're going to conduct our business as a team of 8. And as we said, so goes the team of 8, so goes what? So goes the relationships in the district. The second one is, shall not perform or appear to perform or interfere with any of the responsibilities delegated to the superintendent. Remember in the training we learned about what? Superintendent work, and we learned about board work. The superintendent's not going to do the board's work, and the board's not going to do the superintendent's work. And then last, call or meet with staff and or visit campuses without first notifying the superintendent of schools. What does this mean? It sets a protocol that everybody in the district understands. Let me give you an example. Everybody knows, well, not everybody, the law says that the board is a board only when there's a what? A quorum. But everybody in the community, and even all principals, teachers, students, wherever they see you as the what? The board member. So if I go to a campus and I say, you know what? I would really like that color to be yellow over there. I think that's consistent with the school's colors or what have you. I just think it would look great yellow. Well, sometimes that principal's gonna say, hey, we need to get this wall yellow. Can we get it yellow today? And then the superintendents come in and say, hey, what happened? Well, board member came by and said that wall would look yellow. Whose work is that? That's the superintendent's work. So now the budget was changed, protocols were changed, authority was changed for a yellow wall. Because they see you as the board member regardless of whether you're in a quorum or not. I did it when I was a principal. If a board member came by and said, hey, such and such, we did it. Because what? They were the board member. So this establishes, and it's not like, oh, hey, however you set it up, call the superintendent's office, I need to go by such and such, however y'all work it out. Questions about Questions or comments about board guardrails? Y'all made this so easy. I was ready for some. First, again, thank you so much for the work that you're doing for this community, the work you're doing for the school district. And many of you have been at this quite a long time. And this is volunteer work. And I will tell you this, your superintendent protects your time. Because I've asked for meetings and she's like, Dr. Lewis, we gotta find another way to do that. And I understand that. I understand that. So thank you again. Thank you to Dr. Clardy, Ms. Deloso, and all of you for the work you're doing for the students of Willis ISD. Thank you so very much.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Lewis, I do have a comment.
Yes, sir.
So thank you for coming back and doing this for us. But yeah, these are very high goals. I think they're achievable goals as well. I think us as a school district have all the ingredients to come together to achieve these goals for the next 5 years. So I'm excited about the opportunity to go forth and do that. So we appreciate your time, sir.
Thank you. Okay, next steps is that we'll work with staff on what a progress monitoring report looks like. Probably in September, we'll probably do our first board self-evaluation to establish a baseline, get with the superintendent on that. But again, thank you for the work that you're doing, and let's have an incredible 25-26 school year. And how about winning the state championship this time?
Mr. Williams.
Make a motion to adjourn.
We have a motion by Mr. Williams, a second by Ms. Traylor. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Motion carries 7-0. It is 4:57 p.m. I would like to call the August 20th, 2025 public meeting concerning proposed budget and tax rate to order. It is 4:57 p.m. There is a quorum present. Notice of this meeting has been posted in a time and manner required by law. Mr. Jones, would you please call the roll?
Yes, sir. Cliff Williams. Present. Scott Carson.
I'm present.
Charles Perry. Kyle Hagemeyer.
Yes, sir.
Ms. Paulette Traylor.
Present.
Ms. Nikita Lagway.
Present.
My name is Chad Jones. Thank you.
This time I'd like to turn it over to G Money.
I want to scoot this back and more close. Kyle might throw something at me or something. Talking about tax rate. Well, good afternoon, evening board, Dr. James, Mr. Wilson. We'll kick off this public meeting to present the proposed tax rate and budgets for the 2025-2026 fiscal and tax year. There will also be a time available for public comment specifically on these topics before we adjourn and open the regularly scheduled meeting. Okay, jumping to the tax rate. These are the proposed tax rates for the 2025-2026 school year. For the Texas Property Code, the tax rate must be adopted in two components. The first is maintenance and operations, M&O. Along with state funding, this portion of the tax rate is used to fund the operations of the district within our general fund. The second component of the tax rate is the interest and sinking, INS, or debt service rate. This portion of the tax rate is used to pay for the annual debt payments associated with voter-approved bond sales. Without further ado, for maintenance and operations, the proposed tax rate for 2025 tax year is 0.6669, which is maintaining the same rate as our current year. If you recall from our previous budget workshops throughout the summer, I did originally project our M&O tax rate to be compressed a little bit more this year. However, when we received the final certified values, those values were much lower than the preliminary values we received from the county throughout the summer. So those final values were submitted to the state, and that resulted in no compression and the district maintaining the same tax rate as current year. So as you see, we are maintaining the same M&O and INS rate for a total tax rate of 1.0349. For the debt service, the district is also proposing to maintain the same rate. The voters approved $102.7 million in bonds in May of 2024. As of last month, we did issue that full amount, that full remaining amount, $87 million. Maintaining a tax rate of 0.368, we do have sufficient capacity to handle our current debt obligations updated as of that bond sale. This does result in that total tax rate of 1.0349. as is with every year, when adopting our tax rate, there's always very strict language and motion requirements for maintenance and operations. It is required that we include the following statement for our tax rate resolution. This statement is, this tax rate will raise more taxes for maintenance and operations than last year's rate. This statement is true in principle, however, it is due to the increase in property values rather than the increase in the tax rate. I will also add that due to the projected increase in our homestead exemptions, my projections have this amount being significantly reduced over prior year because the loss in the taxable value for those homestead exemptions. In addition to this, there is no new revenue language. The motion and resolution must contain the following language. The tax rate will effectively be raised by 15.18%. Again, this is a calculation from Montgomery County. It's primarily due to the fact of the property values increasing within Willis ISD boundaries. I will point out that the increase in the homestead exemptions, and in my professional opinion, once these numbers play out for this year, I do think that this number will be reduced at the end of the day. However, it is the current calculation for Montgomery County and the required language for our tax rate resolution. Moving on to the budgets for 2025, 2026. I know at this point y'all have seen these numbers a few times, but to reiterate, these budgets were built on a growth of approximately 280 students. 280 students. Early indications look positive last few weeks. The early enrollment, it does look positive, and it does appear that we will hit this number. We are also using the tax rates that we just reviewed, the 1.0349. The budgets being proposed for adoption tonight are for general fund, debt service fund, and child nutrition fund. The fiscal year for the district and these funds is September 1st, 2025 to August 31st, 2026. Looking at our general fund, we are proposing a balanced budget, happy to say so, of just under $97.2 million. This represents a 12.5% increase over the prior year adopted budget. We'll say that's adopted budget, it's not the amended budget where we're ending the year, but what we originally adopted last August. This is a significant increase, with the primary drivers being the district's continued growth paired with the new funding legislation passed this summer and mandated requirements on revenue and spending. On the expenditure side, you will see the largest impact is in instruction. This is to be expected, as the largest staff increase over the last year is teachers and other instructional staff for growth and for adding and staffing Calhoun Middle School. The state-funded teacher raise is also accounted for a significant percentage of this increase. If you go down the full list, the majority of these increases will be attributed to compensation increases and adding new staff for Calhoun and growth. With the majority of our budget, approximately 84% of our budget being payroll, majority of the increases are involved in compensation and new staff. That being said, I am happy to present the balanced budget for general fund for 25-26. Any questions thus far?
It's got that extra money for the Montgomery County Sheriff's Department.
Yeah, that's what
And
I'm
they're
asking.
already,
Yes, ma'am. I always try to budget for a little contingency within our safety and try to
So we've got
account
that
for
much in
those. Yes, we do. Obviously, I was not anticipating, that was an announcement last week, and so I do not anticipate it being an issue. It is something that we'll have to review as we, typically I hold that money back in case some stuff pops up and we have to spend a little bit of money on safety throughout the year. But I am going to review that, and it might have to be a possible amendment in a few months or at the beginning of the next year if we have to spend some money on some safety items. But as of right now, I don't anticipate any issues. Yes, ma'am.
I'm more concerned, we'll piggyback off that a little bit. That's a 4-year, that pay parity that they're talking about, they're doing in Harris County.
Yes.
And they got 3 million people that live there, and we got less than 1 million here, right? So I'm more concerned what it's gonna do next year and the following year. Especially, I mean, that's 10,000, that's a lot of money. And the officers need to be paid, don't get me wrong on that, but it's gonna have to be very strategic how we do that.
That is my concern as well. Over the next 4 years, I mean, it's approximately a 50% increase.
Absolutely.
To those pay, and so it'd be a 50% increase to our safety budget. So obviously this year, we don't have much of a choice. We have to move forward. But it is something that we're gonna have to review going into the future,
Yeah.
if those budgets maintain.
Yes, sir, thank you.
Talking about the large impacts of our budget, I know we've gone over this throughout the summer. One of the primary impacts is our compensation budget. So this is a summary of what was approved by you this year for teachers. Part of the new legislation was mandated and funded raises, $2,500 for teachers 3 to 4 years experience, and $5,000 raise thereafter. The district provided a locally funded raise for teachers on the 0 to 2 scale. For the other positions, instructional professionals, non-exempt support, and administration, the raise ultimately play out to 3% of their 24-25 compensation. The compensation plan included in the proposed budget was just under $2.7 million. That is built into this budget. Looking at child nutrition, the proposed budget is balanced. It's just under $7.2 million. This includes the 3% raise for this employee group as well, and a relatively small amount in capital outlay. Discussed this pretty heavily with Mr. Northey, but the margins for child nutrition continue to tighten up as we move throughout this last year and into this next one. The majority of the revenue for this fund comes from federal reimbursements. The reality is that these reimbursements have struggled to keep up with rising food costs. That being said, I do not see an issue with balancing the budget this year. We have been strategic the last few years. We've taken advantage of some additional federal programs, and we've addressed a lot of our capital project needs. So I've seen the serving lines and the equipment updates and things along those lines. So that being the case, Mr. Northey and I do not believe, and we both agree, that there's not a huge need for capital improvements in this year's budget. And so we do believe that we can balance the budget this year. And we're proposing that. For debt service, the proposed budgets are balanced at $27.4 million. Over last year, this budget reflects the additional principal and interest payments related to the issuance of the full $102.7 million that we issued on last year's books. That was based on the May 2024 election. And so based on my current projections, I do not anticipate an issue balancing debt service this budget year with our current tax rate and proposed tax rate. So before moving on to public comments, I'd be happy to answer any additional questions.
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
The substitute teacher pay raise,
Yes.
is that in this budget as well? Is that effective before this budget is adopted?
We talked with Travis, Ms. Sweetek, and Dr. James, and we did make that change effective for this school year. So I included the numbers in this budget. We were able to make those sub rates effective for this assignment starting in August.
Good deal, thank you.
Any other questions?
Did you get any updates on that money we got coming to us?
No new updates. As far as I know, other districts in the county, besides Conroe ISD, have not received those funds as well. I received an email from Purdue Brandon, who is handling that appeal, and they have submitted another appeal, and we're waiting on other results. They have not sent me an update as of that one. I'm definitely staying on top of that because I need that money this
All
fall.
night?
Yes, sir. Any questions?
Great job,
Tiffany?
Eric. Great job.
So at this time, that no one has signed up for public comments. Are there any comments from the board as public?
Appreciate you, sir.
Yeah, I think in everything that we're doing right now, it's difficult, especially when there was a lot of variables this summer. So I appreciate you doing it. I appreciate that you were able to maneuver things around to provide teachers and staff. Obviously, the state did with teachers, but with the rest of the staff, I appreciate and I'm thankful that we were able to do what we did. And appreciate you. I think we probably have to start looking into Willis ISD police at some point in time. So probably that's something that we'll need to look at over the next year because obviously that we're talking about a lot of money. The county has done a great job for us, but definitely something we're going to have to look into as far as monitoring over the next 20 years. I think when you look at the numbers, it's probably in our best interest to do that. I think we're the last district in the county that has not, but I appreciate everything you're doing.
Good question. How many students does Montgomery ISD have? Like 10,000?
I think just over 11.
For the two schools? And they have their own police department? Right?
They have for some.
And we're looking in the next 8 to 10 years to be at over 18,000 students.
Yeah.
I know Manuel is in similar boat as far as contracting with the county as well. I think
Yeah, that would be
that's the
possible.
constable's office.
You do a great job here, we appreciate you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
The balanced budget is huge, so that's, I know there was a lot of work that went into that to keep us out of the deficit, so we appreciate that as well.
Legislative sessions are always tough, but I am very happy and confident in this year's numbers. Yes, sir.
Mr. Williams?
Make a motion, we adjourn.
We have a motion by Mr. Williams, a second by Ms. Traylor. Any further discussion? Being none, all those in favor? Motion carries. This meeting is adjourned for our public hearing for our budget workshop. It is 5:10 p.m. At 5:30, we will begin our regular meeting. I would like to call the August 20th, 2025 board meeting to order. It is 5:30 p.m. There is a quorum present. Notice of this meeting has been posted in time and manner required by law. Mr. Jones, would you please call the roll?
Yes, sir. Cliff Williams. Present. Scott Carson.
Present.
Charles Perry. Present. Kyle Hagemeyer.
Present.
Ms. Paulette Traeger.
Present.
Ms. Nikita Langley.
Present.
My name is Chad Jones. Thank you.
This time I'd like to turn it over to Dr. Kimberly James.
Thank you so much, President Hagemeyer. We have the pleasure of having Lynn Lucas Middle School. Sorry, I'm all messed up. Lynn Lucas Middle School presenting everything today. So thank you so much, Dr. Moore.
Good evening, and thank you all for having us tonight. I would like to introduce my students. I have 8th grader Jenna Seuss here with us tonight. She'll be leading us in the pledges. Evan Boodle will be joining her in leading the pledges. And we have Daniel Zalea.
Please join us for the pledges of American flag.
Please join us in the Texas Pledge.
Please remain standing for our prayer. Dear Heavenly Father, we want to thank you for all the wonderful blessings. Thank you for the blessing of education. This evening we come together to pray for Willis ISD in this board meeting. We ask for a special blessing over this, over the principal, teachers, staff, and students of Willis ISD. May you bless them with strength throughout this school year. Bless them. Bless the board members with guidance and wisdom as they make important decisions. I pray for our school are always a place where everyone is respected and encouraged to do their best. Lord, be with us in this meeting and throughout the school year. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Great job.
Public comment. The board will hear comments from the audience early during the public comment portion of the meeting. The public comment portion of the meeting will be no more than 30 minutes total. Each speaker will be allowed a maximum of 3 minutes to address the board. Groups of 5 or more who wish to express the same viewpoint on an issue must appoint a representative to speak to the group and will have 3 minutes to present unless the topic is an item on the board agenda. Please respect the privacy of others and refrain from identifying students, employees, and other community members by name. I will determine whether the speaker has attempted to solve matters administratively through resolution channels established by policy. If not, the speaker will be referred to the appropriate policy to seek resolution. Disruption of this meeting will not be tolerated at any time. Per board policy, the board does not respond during public comments. Our first speaker tonight is Diane Hidden.
My topic this evening is accountability through documentation.
A recent event in our school district demonstrated that our new processes for job performance and documentation establish accountability for our school district. A big shout out goes to our superintendent and her administrative staff, especially the Chief of Construction and Operations, who has made sure that every I is dotted and every T is crossed. These are the steps that lead to accountability. We, the people, are most appreciative of this new focus on accountability. Recently, the director of the FBI, Kash Patel, stated, "Now that we have the documentation, it is time to clean house." It is time that WISD pursue this same attitude. If we are going to achieve our goals and objectives while assuming fiscal responsibility, we must rid our ranks of those who are not on board and or those who have the shadow of corruption hanging over them. The timing is right. Let's do it. This message not only pertains to the superintendent and her administration, but also to the WISD school board. You have amongst you an individual who has demonstrated contempt for the law and an antagonistic attitude toward individuals of the administration who will not yield to his demeanor of power. He is a drag on your ability to function as a respectable school board. It is long overdue for you to clean house. You have the power, you have the documentation, you have the rules and procedures. Now all you need is the desire to think out of the box. Take a chance, do the right thing for you as a board, for the students, for all WISD, and for we the people. We will support you. Show us that you have the strength to do what is right. We the people will support you 100%, for we all know that one rotten apple spoils the bunch. Let's start the new school year with a new member of the school board replacing trustee number 5. Thank you.
Our next speaker is Scott Baker.
Hello. Son. Come today primarily to say thank you. I want to thank the board for their choice of Dr. James as the new superintendent. I think that the results of what we're seeing, the cultural shift that we're seeing in the school district, is true and genuine. I heard words this year as we began the school year multiple times as I went to meetings with the parents and things like that for the teachers of, "Parents, you are welcome here." That was music to my ears. It should be music to all of our ears. Parents should be welcome here. In our schools, we must engage them early and often. That is the secret. That is the way that we're going to change things at Willis ISD. The results are already bearing fruit. I want to congratulate Dr. James on the new scores that we saw come out. That was definitely a move in the right direction. We still have a long way to go. It's my opinion the A's and B's should be the bar, not the exception. But it was really nice to see some A's and B's. I also want to thank the board for choosing not to litigate construction projects on Facebook. I've been in large construction for a long time, and I don't think I've ever seen anyone negotiate a certificate of occupancy or a water permit online. That was genuinely a new one, and I'm glad that you comported yourselves well and avoided the hyperbole and invective that was involved. I'd also like to touch on a slightly sore spot for some of you, I'm aware, but I know I called for a moratorium for 4 years on new bonds. I stand by that call. It gives us time to save money, pay down the debt that we have now, acclimate to the new enrollment that's going to be impacted in the next year, starting in the next year with school choice. It's here, it's the law, goes into effect next year. But in that 4 years, right now is the time to start collecting data. We need empirical data so that we have actual data to go by when we make the decision to build a new stadium. Football season's about to kick off. I've got 2 boys about to play. I'd like to see some hard numbers on what kind of turnout we have, what kind of people are showing up, and what we actually need. I think the time to start doing that is now, so that we have the information we need and we can make a truly informed choice 4 years from now when it's time to build. Thank you.
At this time, we'll move forward with our standing informational and ad hoc items. A, student enrollment.
Good evening, board, Dr. James, Ms. DeLosa. So I'm going to present our enrollment numbers. This morning, we updated the 25-26 beginning of year numbers. We are now looking at 2,903 students at the high school. At the middle school level, we are up 211 if you were to calculate all that out. I know it looks a little wonky with Calfee. Stubblefield, we are up 1 student. So if you calculate that all together, we are up 420 students at our secondary campuses. As far as elementary, we are up a total of 232 students. Some of these numbers, though, look a little wonky. So we had the bilingual kindergartners move over from Cannon over to Metter, which if you took those students out, there's about 40 of them, so they have the growth of at least 36 students. That also accounts for the decrease in students at Cannon, so if you were to take that into consideration, even though they're down 13, that's still a whole grade level that's no longer there, or subpopulation of that grade level that's no longer there. So year over year, from beginning of last year to beginning of this year, we are up by 654 students. Any questions?
Item B, 2025-2026 student handbook.
All right. Excuse me. Good evening, members of the school board, Dr. James, Ms. DeLosa. I just want to appreciate y'all. I have never actually been invited to the matinee, the early portion of the board meeting, so this is really nice to speak before the dinner and be part of the show. So this is good. Appreciate that. So it's my privilege to talk you through some of the key updates to our handbook. And just as a reminder, last time we were together, we got to talk about the student code of conduct, and this time we'll talk about the handbook and go in depth on some major changes. What we are looking at is a very large section of changes that are related to our legislative session, which is also why you see us talking about this in August rather than a goal of July. So that's why we're here at this point in time. All right, so I'd love to walk you through a whole bunch of them. We're going to talk advanced academics or mathematics first, and this is a middle school piece. What we have is a shift with the automatic enrollment into advanced academic courses for incoming 6th graders. That bar was raised from the top 40% to the top 60% of the class based on 5th grade STAR results, or the top 40% based on local measures. Again, this is one of those ones where parents have the right to opt out, but that's an automatic enrollment that we do when they move from 5th to 6th grade. We've got a shift in just clarifying the language around course credits. One of the key pieces is cleaning up the language on how we do our course credit adding up totally. So if a student fails the first semester but passes the second semester, credit for both semesters will be awarded if the average of the 2 semesters is at least a 70. If a secondary student passes the first semester but fails the second semester, the student must repeat the second semester of the course. This is in response to a lot of feedback as far as students who are doing very well the first semester of a course, and this really applies to a lot of our seniors, but then kind of coast through second semester, find themselves failing the course, don't master the content, and now we're looking at a kid who didn't actually pass a second semester. So definitely an adjustment, but I think it's a really positive adjustment for us.
Local policy? Local?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yep. The reteach reassessment policy. So we've updated the number we are using as the benchmark for our reteach reassess policy. Our current policy is meant to align with achieving mastery on the STAR test. So we're looking at what it is to master on the STAR test is kind of where we set our benchmark for reteach reassessment policy. So all students who earn a grade below 80 on a major grade may participate in a reteach retest opportunity to demonstrate mastery. All students can earn up to an 80 on those reassessments. And again, just to clarify, AP, DC, those other courses, they have their own governing body, they have their own rules, so they don't apply to that 80 reteach retest. We follow their policies. Any questions on those before I hop to the next one?
I just want to make a clarifying statement. Policy or procedure?
Procedure, I'm sorry.
Okay, so I wanted to make sure that we were
Okay.
being
Procedure.
clear.
My
This is
apologies.
not a
You got
school
it.
board policy, it's a
Procedure.
it's a
Thank you.
procedure. So.
Yep, sorry. All right, so grade level classification. So we have shifted to an 8-period day at the high school, and so it makes us have to recalculate how we classify our students at the high school. Our freshmen take 7 courses, and then they have their Wildcat Way, that intervention opportunity. So they are able to gain 7 credits their freshman year. So what we looked at is, in order to become a 10th grader or considered a sophomore, you would need 6 credits, okay? 13 credits to become a junior, and 20 credits to become a senior. So those are our benchmarks along the way. And again, that just aligns with the ability to earn 8 credits, and we are allowing for, not that we want, but we understand that a failure might happen. So 1 failure per year gets you to those benchmarks. I'm going to give you probably the quicker version. We went very in depth on personal communication devices last time we were together, but I do just want to make sure we say for the public, again, that we have a policy that aligns with state law. Our personal communication devices are prohibited during the school day, including instructional time, breakfast, lunch, and passing periods. Personal communication devices shall be stored in backpacks and turned off. If a student uses a personal communication device without authorization during the school day, the device will be confiscated and the following steps will be taken. The first offense, the confiscated device will be collected and turned into the principal's office. The principal or principal's designee will contact home and the parent will pick up the device. The second offense, the confiscated device will be collected and turned into the principal's office. An administrator will contact the parent and guardian. The parent and guardian will pick up the device, and the student's going to serve lunch or after-school detention. Third offense, the confiscated device will be collected and turned into the principal's office. An administrator will contact the parent or guardian, and the parent or guardian will pick up the device, and there's a 1 day of in-school suspension. If we have continued behaviors, we consider that to kind of fall in a different area of our code of conduct, and so we'd be looking at additional consequences, but that's because we're having a repeat behavior. We're looking at a different thing than cell phones. Compulsory attendance requirements. So absences for attendance in a released time course, and this is an addition by law. Absence in attendance in a released time course in religious instruction are now excused with written parental consent. Mental health appointments have also been added to the exemptions list for compulsory attendance. In order to have an absence due to a serious or life-threatening illness excused, parents must submit certification from a licensed physician in Texas via a district form, and that district form is in the works by TEA. Any questions around any of those?
How's that going?
Which
I want to live in the audience with the principal.
Which one?
The cell phone situation.
I mean, the feedback I've gotten is spectacular, and honestly, when you get into classrooms, you get into lunchrooms, it's a beautiful thing. I mean, it really is.
100%.
They're talking, they're not texting each other. I mean, I've been blown away. And honestly, you know, we've been in constant contact and conversation with the principals around how much they're dealing with the issue, and it's very minimal.
That's fantastic.
So we're not taking up hundreds of devices every day. They've
I thought
really.
they were going to be keeping the police force a little busy, right?
I mean, we just have to name it. Our kids are amazing.
Yes.
Right? We've set that bar. We've said, here's what we're going to expect from you, and they've risen to the bar. It's been awesome.
And I believe I've heard some stories from campus principals and some of the teachers, even from the students themselves, that have said, I really appreciate not having the cell phone. I would never admit that to my fellow peers, but I really appreciate not having to worry about checking and looking and so forth and so on. So I think they wanted it. So.
I got a quick question though.
Yes, sir.
So from the principals as well too, do we have any reports of, people violating that yet?
People violating.
Have cell phones having to be taken up yet?
Yeah, absolutely.
It's happened?
Yes, yep.
So a few of them are tested the system?
Always, right? We think of it kind of as the intervention, right? 85% of our kids are gonna comply because we said this is what you must do.
Right.
10% are going to comply once we show them it is what they must do. And then you got about 5% of your kids you have to constantly be pushing. I would say just based on the numbers of phones we picked up, we're way below that 5% mark. So it just kudos to our community for stepping
So
up.
they'll have to go back to the old school way of texting with the paper notes that they're passing around?
Yeah, absolutely. And then we'll figure out how we're gonna deal with that.
Good deal.
I'm not even sure they would know how, or if they understand you're supposed to put a box, check here.
That's what y'all used to do there, fold these papers, like,
I love it. Love it. Any other questions on any of those pieces? All right, perfect. In-person parent-teacher conferences. The district, and this is also, we have already been holding to this standard, but this is in the law, so we added that particular language. The district will provide opportunities for at least 2 in-person conferences with the teachers each school year. But again, like I said, we've already been doing that. That's just simply us clarifying in the handbook to match the law. All right, so student records related to library materials. Student school library records are now added to the student records reviewable by parents. Parents have the right to submit a list of books that their child is not allowed to check out, and that parents have the right to access the library catalog, and we'll have more conversation around that later. Participation in student clubs. So SB 12, Senate Bill 12, requires parental consent before a student participates in a club that is authorized or sponsored at the district. We are prohibited from authorizing or sponsoring a student club based on sexual orientation or gender identity. So we will end up sending out a parental consent to all parents who are expecting their kids to be participating in any clubs or organizations this year, and then all of the sponsors will be collecting that back. And then the second component, we don't have any clubs that would do any of those last mentioned pieces. And then parental rights and options. SB 12 requires districts to provide information regarding parental rights and options around moral and religious training, educational decisions, and consent to medical, psychiatric, and psychological treatment for their child. TEA is required to create a form for us that we will provide once available. They have not yet provided that. So once we get that, we will add that to the handbook. And then instructional plans or syllabi. SB 12 requires teachers to provide the instructional plan or syllabus to parents. The district will provide parent access to the instructional plan at the elementary level via teacher websites and to the syllabus at the secondary level via Canvas. So that's how we will give access. And then we've got 3 more items that we are looking at potential revisions just to the language based on principal input that we'll be getting over the next day. We're looking with campus leaders at cleaning up our language around jewelry. One thing we know is it's a very hard piece to enforce, and so we're gonna have a conversation with them about the dress code around jewelry. The homework grading expectations, we wanna clarify that language, and then a specified timeline for submitting makeup work. So we'll be working on those over the next day, and then we'll get you back that language once it's completed for a final review.
Sounds great. You'll be circling back?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'll do it. I won't leave it to you. You guys have other things on your minds. All right. Any other questions? All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Item C, financial bill payment and bond summary.
Yes, sir. Good evening again. This is a snapshot of our revenues and expenses through the month of July. I'm happy to report that we've officially hit our local and federal budget projections. My current projections currently have us being slightly short of that state revenue number. I'm still waiting to get that. We've submitted our final surveys and all of our data to the state. We'll have final state settlement, state aid settlement in the month of September, so that number will not be finalized then. But I do anticipate hitting our overall revenue budget for this year. For expenditures for the month of July, we're right where we want to be throughout this point in the year. I anticipate the good news is I do anticipate us running a slight surplus for our fiscal year, which again is right where we want to be. All that's left to get on our books for the month of August is August payroll, and then we'll be closing out the month and reconciling invoices in the month of September getting things on the right set of books and going from there. But I'm happy where we are and happy to be ending the year in the position that we're in. Happy to answer any questions.
Item D, HVAC school funding opportunity.
Good evening, Board, Dr. James. Today I have the opportunity to introduce you to Jason Smith. He's the Deputy Chief of Staff for County Judge Mark Keogh. We have the opportunity to participate with Montgomery County in a federal grant opportunity, and he's here to tell you more about that grant.
Good afternoon, board members. My name is Jason Smith. I'm the Deputy Chief of Staff for Montgomery County Judge Mark Keogh. Judge Keogh did ask me to send his regards to you tonight. He was very happy to see that school is going well for you guys. He's very happy that he was able to rally the community around you guys to get those projects going. And we're thankful that everything is up and running here at Willis ISD smooth. As far as this presentation, federal funding is kind of what I do for Montgomery County. And there's an opportunity that's going to be coming up for that would really benefit school districts in particular, which is the Safe Routes to School program. What this program does is it allows you guys to apply for federal grants in order to build safer routes to school. So this will fund sidewalks, bike paths, stoplight improvements for pedestrian crosswalks, improving signalization to improve the flow of traffic in and around the schools. So there's a lot of opportunities here that would be very beneficial for you guys. Currently, the way that it's set up is that ISDs are not eligible as to apply for the funds, but Judge Keogh will happily carry this for you guys and work with you to get a funding opportunity available to you if you so choose to do so. Montgomery County is an eligible applicant, and we will be happy to apply on your behalf if there's funding that you want to look at. Next slide, please. Do I control it? Oh, sorry. I'm used to doing this a different way. So what is Safe Routes to School? Safe Routes to School is a national and international movement aimed at really encouraging physical activity amongst the younger folks in the population. I think I probably need some encouragement in the physical activity realm myself as well. Help to reduce traffic congestion around the schools. Of course, there's an air quality issue that goes with it. And it's a partnership. The federal government and the state right now allots 10% of what's called surface transportation block grants. Currently, it's estimated right now that the available funding to the state of Texas for this year will be somewhere around $1.5 billion. So there's a lot of money that's up for grabs on this program. This is based around the 6 E's framework: education, engineering, evaluation, encouragement, engagement, and equity. Those are the things that you can apply for. So it's not just building things. There's other things that you can do with this. Education is creating programs to encourage kids to walk and bike to school, doing things like a bike rodeo to teach them, help them learn how to ride bikes, help them learn how to walk to school safely, get across the street, things of that nature. The engineering part is, of course, the construction part. There is funding to fund the construction, the design. Evaluation is more of the planning steps. If you guys want to do walkability studies for your schools to see what students could walk to school, what students could ride their bikes to school, and what improvements do you guys want to plan to make for future funding availability, you don't have to build now. There's funding that's available for you to bring in those engineers and things to do the studies to figure out, are there kids that really would benefit from this, and what are the best plans to go forward in order to do that. That's honestly a really good step to make, because when you get to the construction phase, that will make you guys way more competitive for construction if you've got plans and you've looked at the data and you've got the support to show, if we build this, this is what we're going to get out of it. Encouragement is also part of that, encouraging kids to do these things. Engagement is community engagement, doing things like that, and getting the community on board. There's funding available even for marketing, walking to school and biking to school and things like that. There's also funding availability to fund law enforcement to increase traffic enforcement around the schools to make school zones more safer, to hire and train crossing guards. It's not just law enforcement. You can do things with crossing guards as well. You can work with your school bus drivers. The opportunities are really kind of all over the place with this funding. Here, I'll do it. There we go. So there's two categories for safe routes to school. There's infrastructure and non-infrastructure. I've already kind of touched on those with you guys. The infrastructure are your capital improvements. That's your CIP things, your bike paths, sidewalks, use path, trails, intersections, anything that's putting concrete on the ground or creating some type of pathway.
Actual road construction?
I'm sorry?
Would actual road construction be included in that?
So this one won't fund road construction, but it comes out of the fund that does fund road construction. So if there is some road construction projects that you guys want to look at, we can look at funding opportunities.
Like a road at the pre-K, a road at the high school in the back, you know, that's the things we've talked about to alleviate traffic a little bit to help.
As long as it would be a public roadway, we could look at it. That's open to the public to use. Funding roadway projects is a little difficult because we would have to get some anticipated traffic counts for it. It would have to meet federal requirements to be functionally classified to a certain level, which is a major collector. So I think the traffic count on that would require like a 3,000 to 5,000 car a day count in order to qualify.
Bob, we're waiting on this traffic study, man. Come on.
Well, to not get in too depth because we're in the middle and I'm on the bid review, but we are reviewing bids right now for the Montgomery County Mobility Study, which will encompass the entire county, Willis included. So that will be something that will also benefit you guys because we're going to look at the entire county's mobility. Where are we at now? Where do we need to improve? Where do we need to expand roadways? Where do we need to widen? Where do we need to add? Where do we need to make better intersections? It's going to look at everything. That's something that I can come back and talk to you guys about later at a different date because we definitely want the school boards to be a part of this because mobility affects you guys too.
Absolutely.
So, but yes, this funds concrete. It won't fund a road, but there are other opportunities for that.
How about street lights?
Yes, street lights will work. PED buttons on crosswalks if you want to upgrade them to the kind that you can hear, you know, that makes the sounds now. They're the advanced PED buttons. It'll work for that. We can go repaint the crosswalk if the paint is dull. We can get funding to repaint that.
That is awesome.
We can light them up. There's anything to do with walking and biking, we can do it. The kind of ideas are limitless here. The state and the federal government really want to fund these initiatives. So the non-infrastructure is all the planning part of it. I would definitely recommend that you guys look at the planning funds. Even if construction is not really something that you're prepared to move forward with, planning makes construction so much easier in the future because they want to see that you've got the data to back up the construction.
Jason, if we were to put in lights, does the responsibility turn over to that entity that, like hypothetically, well, not MP Clark, where we're building our new elementary, the city of Conroe is putting no lights on that road. If we were to put it, are we responsible for those lights and the maintenance of them, or is that the city of Conroe?
So that would all be done through an interlocal agreement on getting into agreements. So generally, the owner of the roadway takes on the maintenance and operations of those moving forward. Generally. So that's one of those ones, if it was on my PowerPoint, I would have highlighted it red and said could.
Yeah.
So yes, that's if it was something that was built on a county road, on a county right of way, on a county road, That would be something that the county would accept as a donation from Willis ISD, and it would move into our maintenance plan where we would, if the light bulb burns out, we would fix it. So same with TxDOT. You know, if it's built on the side of Highway 75, that would be done through interlocal agreements with TxDOT of, hey, we received funding for this, we're going to pay for it and install them and put them in, and then we're going to donate them to TxDOT for maintenance and upkeep. That's generally how it would be done. So these are the eligible entities. As you can see right now, school boards and ISDs are not one of the eligible entities to apply for these infrastructure funds. But Montgomery County is happy to work with you guys to sponsor a project if there is a project that you guys would like to advance forward. The one caveat that I have to tell you is every federal project does require local matching funds. Generally, that amount is 20%. So that's a couple $100,000 for every $1 million that you bring in. There are ways to get that down to 10%. I would be happy to work with you guys to do that. However, there is no guarantee that we can get it down to 10. So I would say if this is a route that you want to go, you would always plan to need to budget 20% of the funds for it. 80% could be federally funded. I did provide a link on here, so I did send the link to Megan. She can share it with you guys if you want to read through it. The process and timeline is still in development right now. HGAC staff are currently working to develop the process. However, I anticipate it will be similar to most processes for call for projects. Those are normally done where there's a call, there's a time for you to submit your project interest, work through the process, go through the questionnaire, and then those projects will be submitted for grading and award. Right now, the TxDOT has their transportation alternatives project, still hasn't been awarded. Those monies come from the same funds. HGAC gets about 60% of the funds. TxDOT gets about 40% of the funds. So until TxDOT makes all their awards, HGAC can't start their process because they really don't know how much is going to be left in the pot. So we're anticipating that the call for projects should open up sometime this fall. So we do have some time for you guys to kind of discuss and look at and see if there's anything you would like to do. I'm happy to come meet with the superintendent or Mr. Eaton to work through that with you guys and kind of work with you on any plans that you may have. I think we already covered this, so I'm going to skip past it. This is my contact information. If any of you would like to reach out, send me an email. I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have. Talk to you about anything federal funding related. There's all kinds of opportunities for road infrastructure. There's some things that we're negotiating with TxDOT right now that's going to really, really benefit you guys as a school district. I'll tell you all about that as soon as they agree to my terms. Once we get that, I'll be happy to come back and I'm going to make the trip to all school districts around. It's something that we're making some improvement to traffic signals around here that I think will lend a lot of savings to you guys in school bus transportation in the morning and the evenings by giving you some kind of priorities at the traffic lights similar to what law enforcement has. So we're working on that project right now. That's about a $13 million project that's being funded 100% by the federal government that's going to be instituted countywide. So we're just kind of in the final stages. So I'm happy to come back and talk to y'all about that at some point because that will require an agreement between us and you guys in order to implement it for you. But it would be a really good program for y'all to be a part of. Dr. James, I've heard lots of great things about you. My sister is Dr. Graves at Region 6, so she speaks very highly of you, so I'm very excited to see you here and see that Willis ISD is moving forward. Thank you guys for allowing me to come talk to y'all and tell y'all about this. I look forward to working with y'all on any federal funding opportunities that Willis ISD may be looking forward. I am a product of Willis ISD, and my father is a retired Willis ISD educator. I now live in Montgomery, however, but I still have a lot of fond memories of Mr. Ben Cooper and Willis ISD. So, in his famous saying, "Have a super Wildcat day."
Thank you. Item E, 2024-2025 Willis ISD Star Data Report. Come on down, Tracy Jackson.
Good evening, School Board. Dr. James, Ms. DeLosa. Tonight, I am super excited about sharing our 2025 data results from our spring test. Get back on the clicker. Of course, we know that our campuses have worked with their staff last year so hard, and they have been improving. Every time I've come and talked to you, I've spoken about, that pathway to making things better and us growing. So I'm going to start first with elementaries to show you how they have grown this year. So elementaries, they take RLA, math, science. And let's start with the district comparison. And remember, all of these scores relate to accountability. This right here is relating to specifically domain 1, which is STAR performance. And so you have your grades, 3, 4, and 5 on the left. You have our performance levels that we talk about a lot, approaches, meets, and masters. And then you have 3 columns that are listed there of 2024 data. And then you have 3 more columns listed in purple of our 2025 data. And then on the right, you see the comparison. And I want you to notice there's a lot of green there. That means there's a lot of growth. You can also see, especially in science, that was a big issue last year, if y'all remember. That's a double-digit growth. So we did exceptionally well in our 3 through 5 grades. Let's look at Parmley as we go through our elementaries. So again, you can see quite a bit of growth there. You can see some very high double-digit numbers. In 3rd grade math, you can see at the meets and masters, that's a 29% growth range right there. You can also see in science, once again, I see some double digits. In science for 5th grade, that's a 28 and 18% growth. So outstanding growth on those. And then there's something in the purple column that I want to recognize, and those numbers that are in bold built on our 90-60-30 standard that we have put into place. And you can see in 3rd grade, they met that 90-60-30 in the 60 and 30 positions. So great job. CC Hardy. You can see our comparison again from 2024 to 2025 in lots of green. Once again, you can see some double digits in 4th grade RLA, some huge 19% and 10% gains. So Hardy is moving right on along. Turner. Again, you can see lots of green. Isn't that weird how it's all red at the top, but all green at the bottom? But some significant gains in the green. With that comparison, you can see the 4th grade meets and masters, double-digit gains again. You can see in 5th grade at the meets and masters, you can see some double digits there in math, and a double digit in RLA. And again, in science, we're seeing approaches and meets in those double digits. You can also see that in 4th and 5th grade, Turner also hit the 90-60-30 standard that we have in place with those bold numbers. So good job. Cannon, new principal here this year. And look at those green numbers again with those double digits coming in. You can see at 3rd grade has some good RLA numbers, that 14 and 13%. In math, there's a 10% increase at meets. At 4th grade, you see in that math, you see every single one of them was a double-digit number. So that's outstanding. And again, when we look to science, 5th grade science is in growth again, and that's a double-digit number that's happening. So some great job that we're doing there in that science area. Metter. Let's look at Metter. Again, lots of green. You see that comparison on the right. You can see that in 3rd and 4th grade, you've had a lot of green in RLA. You've had some green and some growth in 5th grade. And then again, look at what happened in 4th grade with those bolded numbers. She had 90% and 64% in RLA in that 90-60-30 standard that we set. So some really good numbers there as well. And then we look at Lagway. So again, lots of green, less red, lots of double digits as well. You can see that in math, she has a 19% at the master's growth. You can see that in 4th grade, in RLA at the master's level, she has a double-digit growth. And you can see that in science, in 5th grade, we have some double-digit growth at the approaches and at the meets level. So some really good job here. And if you notice specifically, those bolded numbers, you can see where under RLA, almost every one of her percentages in this group meets that 90-60-30 standard. And then 3 times again in the math department. So let's move on to middle school. So middle school testing the same things, they just add social studies at the 8th grade level. So we will start again with the district, and you can see more green here, some double-digit numbers that we're looking at when we compare. And so in math, you can see at that 7th grade level that we're talking about those double digits with 12 and 12% at the approaches and meets level. You can see once again, science went up at the approaches at that double-digit 13. And so we are improving. You can see some are right on the cusp of that double digits. So some great improvements with our middle schools. Of course, next year we will be expanding. We will have another middle school rolled into this. So right now, let's look at Lucas. A lot of green. There is some double digits happening in math at 6th grade at the approaches and the meets. You can see in RLA, there is some double digits at the approaches and almost at the meets level. And then in science, there's some double digits at the approaches level with 12%. So I would say we're hitting very well on that science aspect. Brabham, lots of green here. And if you look at the few red or pink or whatever, their decrease in those is very minimal, very small. But let's talk about the double digits here that's happening, some growth that's happening in math. So at 7th grade, we're growing again in the approaches and meets. And then in science, we're looking at a 15% increase in the approaches as well. So we are looking at a lot of improvement in our 2 middle schools, a lot of improvement. And now we move on to high school. So at high school, we have those 5 EOCs that we're going to look at. And of course, we also have EOCs with our middle schools as well with the algebra and biology. But first, let's take a look at the district. And you can see some green happening there. You'll notice that in Algebra 1 and Biology that the approaches went down, but that's okay because we picked it back up in the meets, so that's all right. You can see that English 1 and English 2 are probably our lowest. That's most likely by the ECR that students have to write. That's a composition, and that's difficult for a lot of students. And then you see some bold in that purple for the 90-60-30. And then another question y'all might have is, why do I have June and December in here? Well, I wanted to give you the data about that. Those are the 2 columns that are in gray, but that's such a small percentage, I wasn't going to compare those. High school. High school has a lot of green. First thing that pops out is that algebra and that biology. Again, having that -1 in algebra for the approaches is not a big deal. We picked them up in the meets. You can see our struggle again with English 1 and 2. And then you see those bolded numbers. They had a trifecta because they did a 90-60-30 down there, standard on that approaches, meets, and masters. Lucas. And I want to talk about Lucas here because I know it's like one of the spots that we don't see a lot of green. Their class size changed from 2024 to 2025, and so it's kind of unfair to be comparing this, even though it's in percentages. So it just changed a lot. So I see that their numbers for meets and masters are double digit in the wrong way, but that's really an unfair comparison between the 2. Because when you're talking about small groups of students, less than 50, if you take out 5 kids, that changes the percentage in that. And then in their biology, if you'll look at that, their approaches and meets hit that 90-60-30 standard that we have set. And if we move on to Brabham, you can see that Brabham has quite a lot of green. In fact, they have all green except in one area. They also have in the purple region, they had the 90-60-30 standard. for Algebra 1 and in biology. So, how are we looking so far? Of course, what we really want to see is this. Last Friday, on the 15th, we received not only our 2025 accountability ratings, but something unprecedented. We also saw our 2024 accountability ratings. And so now we get to look at not just 2 years of comparison with accountability, but 3 years of accountability. So let's look at our elementaries to start. And you'll see their overall score here. And something that I want to point out that's really fascinating about this is if you look in 2023, we only had 1 B. That was our highest score, was a B in 2023. And then in 24 we improved, but look at 25. The color has changed. We only have 1 that's in red. All the rest have been improved. But even Hardy has improved by 18 points from 2023 to now. So a great adjustment in their numbers. Then we look at Turner, who has gone from a 68 to a 90. That's a 22-point improvement. So a huge improvement there. And then we look at Cannon, that had an 18-point increase as well. So we are really improving and moving these kiddos in the right direction. And then for our middle schools, our middle schools are moving. I know it's slower. Middle school, there's just a lot going on at that age. So when you look at middle schools, you can see that Lucas had a 5-point increase from 24 to 25. And then you can see that Brabham had an increase as well of 4 points from 24 to 25. So we're moving in the right direction. It's just slower at the middle schools. And then if we look at our high schools, in 2023, when we got our last rating, the high school was a D, sitting at 69. Now they're a B, sitting at 84. That is a 16-point difference right there. So a great improvement of that. All right? And last but not least is our district overall. So if you look in that first column, you'll see that's our 2023 ratings. Then the next column is our 2024 ratings. And then if you look at the end, the last column on the right, you see our 2025 ratings. Those are all the ones that are colored, that are shaded. And you'll notice that our district rating this year is a 77. So that is a, 8-point increase there in 2 years. So that's really good. But what I really want to point out is 2 things. One, the percentages, the weights. I don't know if you are aware that that changed a couple of years ago, but that our district is weighted differently. Every school that we have is weighted in our district rating. And so the percentages are there, are listed by each campus. And then next year, of course, that's going to change because we have CalFE coming in. So it could be that the high school is like our major point, but our next one coming in, our next school that gives us the most boost, may be in elementary. It might be Hardy, it might be Lagway, because they are boosting some numbers right now that are larger than some of our middle schools. Second thing I want to mention is that you see the 4 columns that are listed, the domain 1, the 2A, the 2B, and the domain 3, closing the gaps. And remember, all of this data goes into those different domains. Domain 1 is star performance, what we just talked about. Domain 2 is about that academic growth, all that green that we saw. 2B is talking about our eco-disc kids and how they perform. And then our closing the gap is like a hodgepodge of everything. But if you look at those numbers, there's a lot of bold numbers in there. And that says that in every spot that there was a bold number, that campus grew in that domain. So there is a lot of growth happening in this, on this page, and in this school district. And then last but not least, TEA also gives, when they give out accountability ratings, they also give out what they call distinctions, which is like awards. And so not only did we get 2025 awards, we also got 2024 awards. And so we would like to recognize those that got awards tonight. So in 2024, we had Willis High School that got an award for top 25 in comparative academic growth. This means that they were compared against schools that are like their own, and they ranked in the top 25. Parmalee got 2 awards in 2024. That was academic achievement in reading and RLA, and then in post-secondary readiness, and then Lagway got post-secondary readiness. So, come on up. Can you, having a hard time walking those around. All right, congratulations. Thank you. And in 2025, we also have some recognitions, and this was really impressive because we have 2 schools that got 3 awards, which is really impressive. And so Turner got that top 25 in comparative academic growth, the post-secondary readiness, and the top 25 in closing the gaps. So they were compared against, again, those 40 schools. And they ranked in the top 10, so Turner, congratulations. And Lagway was academic achievement in RLA and then post-secondary readiness, and they were also in the top 25 of their 40 schools. They were in the top 10 as well. Congratulations. Does anybody have any questions, comments?
Okay. If you are a principal, if you would, please stand up. Okay. From the board, I know that we gave several awards that were awarded by the state, but I want to tell you, every school, for the first time, we talked about this, we had a meeting with Tracy going through these numbers. I want to say thank you. I think it starts with you guys, and the people below you have to believe in you. And I think that one of the things that we've changed is the same group of you was standing here last year. Okay, it's been a long time that we haven't had a principal turnover. And so I want to tell you, as a board, we believe in you. We believe in what's going on and the direction we're going. And honestly, just want to say thank you. And I know it's not just you. We'll let Gerald stand up with y'all, but we expect great things from him. That's why and so I just want to say thank you. I know that administratively, our goal when we hired Dr. James was, we talked about one thing, we needed community involvement, but we needed our academics to improve. That was our goal, or at least mine.
There you go.
I wanted to show that, and I really just want to say thank you, because I know it's not easy, and I do want to say thank you because I know even if you didn't have a banner, you worked equally as hard, and I appreciate each and all of you.
Absolutely.
So, thank you. Item 5, consent agenda. Is there any consent agenda item that a board member wishes to discuss before taking action? Mr. Jones.
Yes, sir. I'd like to see us remove action item C, which is the approval of Terracon for the transportation facility material testing. I feel that we get more clarity on how that project is going to move forward. We don't need to approve anything else.
No, we're just removing it. Any further questions? Mr. Williams.
Make a motion, we approve the consent agenda as presented.
We have a motion by Mr. Green.
With the
removal of item C. Perfect. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor? Motion carries 7-0. At this time, the board will now convene into closed session for discussing matters for which closed sessions are authorized for the purpose of considering matters in closed sessions. Title V, Chapter 551, Texas Government Code, Section Texas Government Code 551.071 through 084 and .129. A, real estate pursuant to Texas Government Code 551.072. B, consult with attorney by phone pursuant to Texas Government Code 551.071. And C, personnel matters, Texas Government Code 551.074. It is 6:29. Very good. The board will now reconvene into open session. It is 8:15 p.m. Are there any motions from closed session? Mr. Williams.
Make a motion that the board accept the superintendent's recommendation and approve the listed employee disclosures of other employment and find no conflict of interest with their employment in Willis ISD.
We have a motion by Mr. Williams, a second by Mr. Jones. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor? Motion carries. Are there any other motions from closed session? Mr. Williams.
I move that we accept the superintendent's recommendation and approve 3 new PCMs for bus drivers and 4 new PCMs for bus monitors to meet compliance requirements.
We have a motion from Mr. Williams, a second from Ms. Traylor. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor? Motion carries. No motions. We'll move on to item 8, discuss, consider approval for action items. A, discuss, consider approval of 2024-2025 general fund budget amendment.
Yes, sir. Good evening again. The next few agenda items are the final budget amendments for the 24-25 fiscal year. Final budget amendments are one of the first steps of the year-end process, and the purpose is to align the budget with the final projections to ensure compliance. The final amendment to the general fund is relatively minimal, with the primary adjustment being for our E-rate program the district finalized this summer. To summarize, the E-rate program provides funding for district technology infrastructure projects, mainly fiber and communication connection, which provides 80% funding, whereas the district's portion is 20% of these projects. However, for the 80%, although the district does not see or expend those funds, we still have to get them on our books. And so the main adjustment to this budget is at $683,000. That is for our federal E-rate program. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Mr. Carson.
Sir, I move that we accept the superintendent's recommendation and approve the 2024-2025 general fund budget amendment as presented.
We have a motion by Mr. Carson, second by Mr. Jones. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Motion carries 7-0. Item B, discuss, consider approval of 2024-2025 debt service final budget amendments.
Yes, sir. For the debt service fund, the primary purpose of the final amendment is to adjust just for the $87.7 million bond issuance in July. This amendment is to adjust for the cost of the issuance, as well as the additional interest payments, which was added on into our 8/15 payment. And so the final budget amount is $28.6 million for fiscal year 24-25. Happy to answer any questions.
Ms. Traylor.
I move that we accept the superintendent's recommendation and approve the 2024-2025 debt service fund budget amended as presented.
We have a motion by Ms. Traylor, a second by Mr. Carson. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Motion carries 7-0. Item C, discuss, consider approval of 2024-2025 child nutrition final budget amendment.
For the child nutrition fund, the final amendment is to address some slight increase in payroll costs for the raises that went into effect this August, as well as some TRS on behalf reporting. There's also a slight adjustment to our supplies, which is our food budgets, to ensure we do not go over function budgets when we receive our final invoices for the year for the August startup. Similar to the other adopted funds, I do anticipate running a slight surplus in the child nutrition fund for 24-25. Be happy to answer any questions.
Mr. Carson.
Move that we accept the superintendent's recommendation and approve the 2024-2025 child nutrition fund budget as presented.
We have a motion by Mr. Carson, a second by Mr. Williams. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Motion carries 7-0. Item D, discuss, consider approval to adopt 2025-2026 general fund debt service and nutrition budgets, child nutrition budgets.
Sure, here it is. We've been working towards all summer and spring. We've already reviewed these in detail multiple times, so I'm not going to belabor any of these unless there's additional questions. But presented for your approval is adoption of the general fund budget, debt service fund, and child nutrition fund. General fund being in the amount of $97.18 million, debt service $27.44 million, and child nutrition $7.19 million. We are in a great position to where we're able to propose these budgets as balanced. Legislative years are tough, but I do feel confident in these numbers going into this next year. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Mr. Jones.
Yes, sir. I move that we accept the superintendent's recommendation and approve the 2025-2026 budgets for the general fund, debt service fund, and the child nutrition fund as presented.
We have a motion by Mr. Jones, a second by Coach Perry. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor? Motion carries 7-0. Item E, discuss and consider approval of 2024-2025 district fund transfer.
Yes, sir. With this action item, the district is requesting authorization for a transfer across district funds. To provide some slight background, in front of you is a brief history of the district's health insurance fund. As you will see, the fund has run a deficit in its recent history. To address this, we have increased our contribution in 22-23. We've more recently switched our clinic model from an on-site clinic to the next level Prime membership, and then intend to offer some additional benefits and save some costs. For this upcoming year, we've made some further plan changes and have adjusted employee premiums. However, you will see and notice that the main issue is the expenses, which is our claims and our claims costs, and that has gone up every single year. The reality is that our district contributions are not keeping up with our expenses, and so that is where we are at. We are not alone in this. All self-funded plans are experiencing the same or similar issue. And outside of those changes we have made, we do plan to do a deep dive this fall and look at this going into next year as far as what options we have. However, that being said, while we have ran these deficits in health insurance fund, we have been in a good situation where we have been able to transfer some funds from our general fund and other funds to help cover the deficits in the past. We are in that position again this year to where I am projecting a slight surplus in the general fund. And so this is requesting authorization to transfer $750,000 from the general fund to the health insurance fund to help offset some of those costs.
Mr. Carson.
I move that we accept the superintendent's recommendation and approve the transfer of $750,000 from Fund 199 General Fund to Fund 753 Health Insurance Fund.
We have a motion by Mr. Carson, a second by Mr. Williams. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor? Motion carries 7-0. Item F, discuss, consider approval of commitment to fund balance.
Yes, sir. Each year there's a requirement for us to go through this process to commit fund balance to satisfy local and state recommendations and requirements. For the first rating, it is recommended that we have approximately $21 million in unassigned fund balance. We are recommending to commit $23 million of that fund balance to the items listed ahead of you, which would leave approximately $24.5 million in unassigned fund balance, which is more than the recommended amount by TEA. We'll clarify that this process in no way locks these funds into this. This is simply a process to fulfill state and audit recommendations.
Mr. Williams.
Move that we accept the superintendent's recommendation and approve the board's that the board rescind all previous designations and replace them with the $23 million in commitments as presented.
We have a motion by Mr. Williams, a second by Mr. Carson. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Motion carries 7-0. Item G, discuss, consider approval of the certification of debt service collection rate for the 2025-2026 fiscal year from excess collections for the 2024 debt service.
Sir, this one is relatively straightforward. Truth and taxation laws require that we accept and certify the debt collection rate. Attached is the 2025 debt collection rate verified by Montgomery County Tax Assessor Collector Tammy McRae. As you will see, our anticipated collection rate for tax year 2025 is 100%. The prior year collection rate was established at 99.17. This is essentially Montgomery County notifying us of the percentage of taxes they anticipate collecting for next year. You'll notice the language about excess collections. That is as a result of the amount that they collected. It was slightly higher than the amount they originally projected last year, and that's what's netting the excess collections. And we're asking for your approval to certify this amount.
Mr. Trader.
I move that we accept the superintendent's recommendation and approve the certification of the debt service collection rate and excess collections as presented.
We have a motion by Ms. Traylor, a second by Ms. Lagway. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor? Motion carries 7-0. Item H, discuss, consider approval to adopt the 2025 ad valorem tax rate for maintenance and operations.
Sir, as presented, the district is requesting adoption of the 2025 maintenance and operation tax rate of .6669 per $100 valuation. As previously discussed, this rate maintains the same rate as current year. And I've also included the required language that this tax rate will raise more taxes for maintenance and operations than last year's rate.
Mr. Carson.
I move that we accept the superintendent's recommendation and approve the 2025 ad valorem tax rate for maintenance and operations of .6669 per $100 valuation.
We have a motion by Mr. Carson, second by Mr. Williams. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Motion carries 7-0. Item I, discuss, consider approval to adopt 2025 ad valorem tax rate for debt service for the 2025 total ad valorem tax rate.
Sir, as presented, the district is requesting adoption of the debt service tax rate of .368 per $100 valuation and a total tax rate of 1.0349 per $100 valuation. This is the same exact tax rate as current year. I'll be happy to answer any other questions.
Mr. Carson.
I move that we accept the superintendent's recommendation and approve the 2025 ad valorem tax rate for debt service of .3680 per $100 valuation. I further move that the total property tax rate be increased by the adoption of a tax rate of 1.0349 per $100 valuation, which is effectively a 15.18% increase in the tax rate.
We have a motion by Mr. Carson, second by Ms. Traylor. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Motion passes 7-0. Item J, discuss and consider approval of agreement for the purchase of attendance credit, option 3 agreement, and to delegate contractual authority to the superintendent.
Okay, last one for me tonight. So this past month, the district received notification of local revenue in excess of entitlement, otherwise known as recapture. Recapture is the situation where property values increase to a certain level per student over state guidelines, and if this were the case, the district would owe funds back to the state. The district received the same notification letter last year. I did not project that we would be subject to recapture at that point, and I still show that we will not owe anything for 24-25. My current projections are showing a similar outlook for this next year for 25-26. However, I will note that with the new legislation and new funding, that does have the potential to shift our funding formulas, and so there's always the possibility that this could push us into recapture. However, I'm not currently projecting that. But I will be monitoring that as that goes through the year. So all we're doing tonight is approving and delegating authority to Dr. James as the superintendent to make the selection, which in this instance is the purchase of attendance credit, which ultimately means that if we are in recapture, the state reduces our state aid payments going into next year.
Mr. Carson.
I move that we accept the superintendent's recommendation and approve the 2025-2026 school year. We delegate contractual authority to delegate the school district under Texas Education Code TEC 11.1511C4 to the superintendent solely for the purpose of obligating the district under TEC 48.257 and TEC Chapter 49, subchapters A and D, and the rules adopted by the Commissioner of Education authorizing the TEC 49.006. This included approval of the agreement for the purchase of attendance credit and the agreement for the purchase of attendance credit netting Chapter 48 funding, or the agreement for purchase of attendance credit and netting Chapter 48 funding.
We have a motion by Mr. Carson, and I greatly appreciate you reading that. And a second by Ms. Traylor.
It's a legal requirement.
Is there any further discussion? Paulette told me to call him Scott. I'm just telling you straight up.
I see it.
That's how she is. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Motion carries 7-0. Item K, discuss and consider approval of MOU Girl Scouts San Jacinto County for swim facilities.
It'll be a lot more brief than your day, Scott, you buy it, I promise. So we're talking about the swimming pool and our swimming program. Before I get into the action item, I want to first introduce our head swim coach, Amy Mills, who's a first-year coach with Willis ISD. If you don't know, she has done a phenomenal job in her short time here. Our swim program is thriving. Kids love her, communities love her, and she's been amazing for us, and we're so thankful to have her. As most of, I guess everybody in the room knows, we've been in constant debate for the last, it feels like 3 years since I've been here. But the last 7 months, it's been kind of a back and forth with the best route and avenue to go with our swim program as far as what we're going to practice, where we're going to compete in those things. And a lot of options, have come across our desk, and a lot of conversations have been had. Obviously, we take the kids' safety and transportation more important than anything. And between Conroe ISD's Natatorium, the YMCA in Conroe, and the Girl Scouts, which is less than a quarter of a mile down the road from the high school, we thought it would be best to start having in-depth conversations with them. And so with that, we've had a pool of private donors get together, and they are going to pay the cost of a heater that is going to go into that swimming facility over there, because they don't have a heater, and obviously it gets cold in the wintertime, and our kids still need a place to practice. And so our private donors are going to cover the cost of that heater. And what we're asking for tonight is a $500 a month, not to exceed $6,000 per year, which essentially covers the cost of the gas bill that we will cover with y'all's approval. And so that's what we're asking for tonight. I'm happy to answer any questions y'all may have in regards to that.
Mr. Jones?
I move that we accept the superintendent's recommendation to approve the MOU with the Girl Scouts of San Jacinto County.
Second. We have a motion by Mr. Jones, a second by Mr. Carson. Any further discussion?
Yes, I just wanted to tell everybody this is great collaborative work on a lot of people's parts behind the scenes, and on your part and some other people. We're fortunate to live in a community where we do have people outside the school district that care about our kids and the facilities that they're needing, and we're able to collaborate and get some donations together to get that heater coming this winter. That's an excellent job on everybody's part. I'm very proud of the effort and collaboration. So thank y'all all who's involved in this process. We really appreciate y'all.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Any more questions or discussions? All those in favor? Motion carries 7-0.
Thank you.
Item L, discuss, consider approval of the student outcome goals for Willis ISD 2025-2026 through 2029-2030.
We just asked for you to approve based on what we had earlier in the workshop.
Perfect. Ms. Traylor?
I move that we accept the superintendent's recommendation and approve the student outcome goals for the 2025-2026 through 2029-2030 school year.
We have a motion by Ms. Traylor, a second by Ms. Slagway. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor? Motion carries 7-0. Item M, discuss and consider approval of goals, progress measures for Willis ISD 2025-2026 through 2029-2030. Mr. Carson.
Sir, I move that we accept the superintendent's recommendation and approve the goals, progress measures for the 2025-2026 through 2029-2030 school year.
We have a motion by Mr. Carson, a second by Ms. Slagway. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Motion carries 7-0. Item N, discuss, consider approval of Willis ISD Superintendent Guardrail for 2025-2026 through 2029-2030. Mr. Carson.
I move that we accept the superintendent's recommendation and approve the goals, progress measures for the 2025-2026 through 2029-2030 school year.
What now? It should read
guardrails.
The guardrails, Willis ISD, the superintendent's recommendation to approve the
You should read
superintendent
guardrails. It's plural,
Okay.
Gotcha.
and it's plural.
You want me to repeat that?
Yes.
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
I move that we accept the superintendent's recommendation and approve the WISD Superintendent Guardrails
Yes.
for 2025-2026 through 2029-2030 school year.
We have a motion by Mr. Carson, a second by Mr. Jones. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Motion carries 7-0. Item O, discuss and consider approval of Willis ISD Superintendent Guardrail Goal Progress Measures for 2025, 2026 through 2029, 2030.
And that is plural as well.
Board of Trustees. So you did mine, now you're doing the Board of Trustees guardrails, so.
No, this is the goal
We're doing
progress
the
measure.
goal progress measures for you.
Yeah, and that's plural.
So this is item O.
Yes, sir.
So it's written on.
Got it?
Want me to read
Yes,
it?
ma'am.
Okay, I move we accept the superintendent's recommendation and approve the goals, progress measures for the 25-26 through 2029-2030 school year.
We have a motion by Ms. Traylor, a second by Coach Perry. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor? Motion carries 7-0. Item P, discuss and consider approval of Willis ISD Board of Trustees guardrails for 2025 through 2026 through 2029 and 2030. Mr. Carson.
Move that we accept the superintendent's recommendation and approve the Board of Trustees guardrails for the 2025-2026 through 2029-2030 school year.
We have a motion by Mr. Carson, a second by Ms. Traylor. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor? Motion carries 7-0. Item Q, discuss and consider approval of employee disclosure of other employment.
All right, so I double booked you guys on this. This is something that y'all voted for out of closed session, so we don't have to do it again here in open session. But I did want to make sure there was an understanding this is in regards to House Bill 3372 that just came out of the state legislature, brand new law that we're now subject to for anyone at an admin level or above.
On the closed session, the one that's in the board book is different than the one that we got in closed session.
Oh, is it different? Okay, then I'll go ahead and present this one as is then, okay? All right, so two of our administrators have disclosed outside employment that falls within the parameters of this law, and we're asking for approval from the board. Ms. Isis Frederick is an assistant principal at Roark Early Education Center, and she performs translation work for Gold Book, an educational company based in California. And then Mr. Ken Lebonsky, our Director of Fine Arts, occasionally performs as a guitarist for school events in Conroe ISD. So we're asking for board approval that this is not a conflict of interest for either one of these employees, and they're able to perform these duties on their own personal time.
Mr. Williams.
Make a motion that the board accept the superintendent's recommendation and approve the contract between Gold Book and Isis Frederick and Ken Lebonsky and Conroe ISD, finding that we have been provided with copies of contracts and will not harm the district, and the arrangement does not present a conflict of interest. Both employees have been advised that all work performed for state companies will entirely be on their own personal time.
We have a motion by Mr. Williams, a second by Mr. Jones. Is there any further questions? All those in favor? Motion carries 7-0. Item R, discuss and consider approval of updated board policy, FNC local.
All right, so next we're bringing forward an update to board policy, FNCE local. And this is in response to requirements of House Bill 1481, which mandates districts adopt clear policies around student cell phone use on campus. I think we've heard a little bit about this, and now we're going to make it official board policy. So to guide our decision-making, the district surveyed parents on whether cell phones should be completely banned or allowed on campus with a designated storage method. The district received 1,477 responses, and 89% of those responded that they did want their students allowed to bring their phone to school, provided they are stored appropriately. Based on this feedback and in compliance with House Bill 1481, the district is adopting the off and away policy. Under this policy, students may bring their phones to campus, but they must remain powered off and stored away during the school day unless an exception applies, such as a documented medical need or accommodation under a 504 IEP plan. If you have any questions about these procedures and how it's going to be implemented, Mr. Hollander and Dr. Velasco are available to answer them.
Ms. Traylor.
I make a motion that the board accept the superintendent's recommendation and update board policy FNCE local as presented.
We have a motion by Ms. Traylor, a second by Mr. Carson. Is there any further
Yes, I did have one question.
Okay.
I know, so 504 IEP, we have medical exceptions.
Yes, sir, that is addressed in the handbook.
Right, and if there's not a medical exception already in place and the student and the parent is in the process of getting that exception done.
Once they are in the process of being accepted.
That meets the requirements?
They already covered under the umbrella. Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Foster.
Any further discussion? All those in favor? Motion carries 7-0. Item S, discuss, consider approval of update to board policy EFE local.
All right, next we're presenting an update to Board Policy EFB Local in response to the requirements of Senate Bill 13. Senate Bill 13 mandates that school boards must adopt policy to govern the acquisition, review, and removal of library materials. Under this updated policy, the board is entitled to review lists of proposed or donated library materials, offer feedback, and formally approve or reject those materials. The updated EFB local policy also outlines clear processes for transparent collection development standards, increased parental access and involvement, procedures for reviewing and challenging library materials, protecting students from inappropriate content, and ensuring that our libraries reflect the diversity and educational needs of our students. This is a comprehensive policy designed to promote transparency, uphold community standards, and maintain the educational integrity of our library collections. If you have any questions, we're here to assist.
Mr. Jones.
Yes, sir. I make the motion the board accept the superintendent's recommendation to update board policy EFB local as presented.
We have a motion by Mr. Jones, a second by Mr. Carson. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Motion carries 7-0. Item T, discuss and consider approval to adopt resolution that aligns with Senate Bill 12.
All right, finally, I bring to you a resolution in regard to Senate Bill 12. This resolution ensures Willis ISD is in full compliance with Senate Bill 12, which becomes effective on September 1st, 2025. It reinforces parental rights in their child's education, health decisions, and access to records. It prohibits diversity, equity, and inclusion duties for any employee, contractor, or volunteer with violations such as disciplinary action. It also bars employees from assisting students with social transitioning and requires immediate parental notification if a suspected criminal offense occurs against their child. The resolution increases transparency by posting course plans and parental rights information online, creating a parent comment portal, and prioritizing public input at board meetings. Finally, it requires written parental consent for human sexuality instruction and student club participation, while prohibiting K-12 instruction or clubs based on sexual orientation or gender identity. In short, this is about compliance, transparency, and protecting parental involvement in Willis ISD.
Ms. Trader.
I make the motion that we accept the resolution regarding Senate Bill 12 and parent rights as presented.
We have a motion by Ms. Traylor, a second by Mr. Carson. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Motion carries 7-0. Item U, discuss, consider approval of annexation for elementary number 7. At this time, we're going to table. Yes, sir.
Table this. There's some things I want to talk about this. I was going to recommend tabling it. We as a board, Deputy Dr. James, I've never been more proud of watching how our superintendent handled this whole situation with Calvin Middle School. We didn't go have a public whatever. We didn't do all that. She put the facts out there for everybody to look at and to see what it is. And I absolutely believe we need to table this till this nonsense with Conroe gets cleared up, and I'm hopeful that it does in the near future.
We have a motion by Mr. Jones, a second by Mr. Carson. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor? Motion carries 7-0. To table. Discuss and consider approval of energy right-of-way for elementary number 7.
Thank you, Board. Elementary number 7 is requesting a right-of-way, or for Entergy is requesting a right-of-way for elementary number 7 to run its electricity and power. If you remember, a year ago, we granted an easement to Entergy to run along MP Clark. This is actually to come off of MP Clark onto the north side of our property, run their poles, and then from the poles, they run it about 400 feet down, and then they run it underground from there to the building to our connection. So Entergy is requesting an easement granted by the district to run their power onto our property.
Mr. Jones.
Yes, sir. I move that we accept the superintendent's recommendation and approve the right-of-way Instrument Energy Texas, Inc. on the elementary number 7 site.
We have a motion by Mr. Jones, a second by Mr. Carson. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Motion carries 7-0.
And I know, I'm sorry, but I do have, after the meeting, I do have the document that needs to be signed by the board.
Perfect.
Perfect.
W, discuss and consider approval to adopt 2025-2026 board operating procedures. This time, we're gonna do whatever I say. Do we have,
There's rationale.
do what?
Someone's supposed to present?
Is anybody presenting on that or no?
This is Dr. James. For the board operating procedures.
Absolutely. So these procedures that we reviewed and gone through with the Lone Star governance and afterwards have been reviewed and updated as needed annually. Each board member shall sign the current board operating procedures acknowledgement form annually, accepting their commitment. So if you'll do so, please.
Mr. Carson.
I move that we accept the superintendent's recommendation and approve the adoption of the 2025-2026 board operation procedures.
We have a motion by Mr. Carson, a second by Ms. Lagway. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor? Motion carries 7-0. Item 9, board member comments. Okay, being none, superintendent comments.
All right.
Okay, future business meetings. Oh, did you have comments? Okay, she has comments, my bad.
I'm sorry, I promise I will go fast. I just wanted to.
You're fine.
So first off, we have our next board meeting September 10th at 5:30. So just want to say we've had a great start to the school year. Want to thank our staff and our principals, and I know that many have left, but I just want to say all of the hard work that you saw, the scores and everything, they're a tribute to the hardworking folks that we have. I mean, it does not happen without planning, and you can see that. And so I couldn't let it go without tonight to be able to say this staff is amazing, their teachers are amazing, their principals are amazing, and I can't wait to see what we're gonna do this year. So that's one thing. We have our Meet the Cats coming on Monday, August 25th at 7 p.m. at Yates Stadium, so wanna definitely invite everybody out there for that. Saturday is our Education Foundation bash, and so if you haven't made plans to be there, we want you to be in attendance to that. I'm just going to say we're moving in the right direction. 2 A-rated campuses, 2 B-rated campuses, including Willis High School, and no F-rated campuses in the district, and that is super progress right there. Also want to let you know that our communications department, they are beginning a Fun Fact Friday that will start in September, which we are going to be sharing our timely stats, things that are happening in the district, talking about the highlights and especially our history with the community. So that's one thing. We're also going to begin a safety campaign. I know I've had several questions come through the board, and I appreciate y'all through the community about, for example, our bullet proof film. And so we've decided that, hey, we're just going to make that a safety month and talk about all of the things that we're doing to be safe. And so we're taking some time to prepare that and look forward to see that with Sarah. And lastly, we're going to be launching a bond updates campaign so our community stays up to date on projects that are underway, recently completed, and also as we get our information that comes out based on our facilities assessment, we'll be just packaging that and talking about that. So wanted to just kind of give y'all some information that are upcoming. So thank you.
Okay, Mr. Williams.
Motion with adjourn.
I have a motion by Mr. Williams, a second by Ms. Traylor. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Motion carries 7-0. Thank you all.